company this lunchtime. The next news on BBC One is at 6 o'clock, but now we join the BBC's news teams where you are. Have a good afternoon.
Good afternoon, welcome to BBC London. I'm Thomas Magill. Well, it may be a new year, but it's the same old story for rail passengers this week who face 5 days of disruption as train drivers and other staff walk out as part of their long-running dispute with bosses over pay and conditions. RMT members will strike tomorrow and again on Wednesday, Friday and Saturday. And then on Thursday, ASLEF members will take similar action for 1 day. With the latest, Wendy Hurrell sent this report from Sutton.
Well, after a few weeks of festive distraction, it is unavoidable that we have to go back to our work and school routines now, and that is going to be particularly challenged through this week. The disputes between unions and employers have rumbled on into a new year, and there are train strikes scheduled that are likely to bring disruption to the capital as we go through this week. So let's have a quick recap on what is going on. The RMT union is walking out Tuesday and Wednesday this week, and again on Friday and Saturday in a dispute over pay and working conditions. Now, sandwiched between that on Thursday, train drivers from ASLEF will also strike, and that's going to be affecting 15 train companies. So what does all that mean for us? Well, of course, alternative routes are going to be particularly busy. The tube, the buses, and of course, the roads. The advice at the moment is don't travel unless you have to. But that, of course, isn't viable for many a Londoner. So you will have to plan your route carefully, leave extra time. And we're told that, for example, Epsom Station, not far from here, will be largely closed throughout the week. People are being sent here to Sutton instead, where there will be a limited service. There will be ways to get around, but they are going to be busy and it will be a challenge. There are hopes for fresh talks that will bring a resolution to some of these disputes. This is what Govia Thameslink had to say about that.
These national discussions, they are ongoing. Rail Delivery Group are owning those discussions on behalf of all the train operating companies, and we're very much looking forward to them making a breakthrough and for people getting back round the table in the new year so that we can get a quick resolution to the dispute.
Well, that's the situation at the moment, but deep breath, everyone. This week is going to take some of that famous stoicism that all Londoners have. Wendy Hurrell, BBC London News.
Meanwhile, passengers travelling to Scotland on Avanti services from Euston via the West Coast Main Line are being told to avoid the station. The line will be shut until Friday due to a landslide near Carlisle. Customers are being advised to use the East Coast Main Line out of King's Cross instead. An urgent review of security arrangements at this year's New Year's Eve fireworks display is continuing after a number of people forced their way through barriers in order to get into the ticketed event. 8 people were arrested and police say they were forced to draw their batons before bringing things under control. A man has been arrested on suspicion of murdering a woman from Deptford. Maureen Geetaw was last seen leaving her home on Evelyn Street 5 days before she was reported missing on the 10th of December. Police believe she's come to serious harm, although a body has not been found. Now, hip-hop is not the sort of dance you'd associate with the Royal Ballet in London. But now, thanks to the work one East London man is doing, that could be about to change. We've been to meet Joseph Tunga to find out he's bringing his moves to the ballet.
It feels so surreal in terms of just my journey, being somewhere where I was told I could never get to. My name is Joseph Tunga. I am a hip-hop contemporary dance artist, and I'm also the emerging choreographer for the Royal Ballet. And hit one. I was born in Cameroon, but raised up in the East End of London. Got into dance by accident, fell in trouble, and was told to go and do an after-school class. And ever since then, I've always been kind of mixing hip-hop with contemporary movement. So I feel like what hip-hop inspired me to do is to really speak about social subjects, to kind of tell stories and moments of our everyday lives and how that impacts us. Being here is about people being able to see different work. What's been really key is the dancers have allowed me and themselves to find a journey how we can translate it together so it makes sense for both worlds, so we understand this is what we're trying to break with the movement, that everyone can try and understand from the different backgrounds they come from.
The style couldn't really be more different. I think it's quite powerful, kind of an attacking style, and obviously we're used to aiming for looking effortless and graceful and elegant.
It's a lot more grounded. We tend to be more upright, whereas this requires us to be lower to the ground.
You want to go, stop.
I think it's always good to challenge stereotypes, because I think whilst we're a big international ballet company and we do our Swan Lakes and we do our Nutcrackers, part of the Royal Ballet's work is to really push forward what the art form is. And I think having Joseph here, he naturally challenges what ballet is, what it can be.
Hip-hop language and hip-hop culture is changing people's experiences. Being from Newham, I was able to have students from Newham, from different schools, come to the Opera House to see a show for the first time. And I think for me, that's one of my big achievements. This allows me is to, as an artist, open up to communities who don't feel that this space is for them.
Some exciting work there. Well, time for a look now at the weather with Elizabeth Rizzini.
Hello there, good afternoon. Well, for this first week of the new year, it's looking rather unsettled across the capital, so turning wet and windy at times. But today, beautiful day, plenty of sunshine around. This was Hampton earlier on this morning, as captured by one of our weather watchers. And we are set to keep those sunny spells as we head through the rest of the afternoon. Some areas of cloud coming and going at times. There's a light southwesterly wind. It's a lot less blustery than it was over the last couple of days or so, but also cooler too. Temperatures peaking between 7 and 9 degrees Celsius for most of us. Now, as we head through this evening and overnight, we're in for a chilly one. The skies are clear, the winds are light, and temperatures could drop perhaps as low as 1 to 3 degrees Celsius for a time before rising a bit further into tomorrow morning. Maybe a touch of ground frost, perhaps a few early mist patches around. But then a weather front approaches from the west, and that's going to thicken up the cloud as we head into tomorrow morning. The temperatures will start to rise, and eventually there'll be some outbreaks of rain on and off as we head throughout the day. Nothing particularly heavy, but it could be quite constant at times. A blustery day, gusts of wind of around 40 miles an hour, but the temperatures are higher, peaking at around 12 degrees Celsius. On Wednesday, it's blustery, but mostly dry.
Well, much more on all of today's stories on our website, and there's some brilliant and colourful pictures from yesterday's New Year's Day parade on our Instagram page as well. Lakshmi will be here at the slightly earlier time of 6:20. Have a lovely afternoon. Bye-bye.